Welcome back for part 4 and the finale of What If Ahsoka Could Have Made Us Obi Wan's Padawan. If you haven't seen the first 3 parts, I highly recommend you watch those first before watching this video. The links will be in the description below. The celebration of the destruction of the Death Star was short-lived for the rebels. After discovering that the supposedly impenetrable Death Star had been infiltrated, Palpatine went on a rampage. Vader bore the brunt of the punishment, his failure to dispose of the Jedi hurting his pride. Had Vader not reported the connection of Anakin Skywalker to the younger Jedi, he would surely have been dead. The news of the younger Jedi could present a thorn in the side of Sidious's plans. Ramping up the production of another Death Star, Vader is unsure, but knows better than to argue with his master. He was fortunate Sidious had allowed for him to be distracted with the pursuit of the Skywalkers. He now hated Sidious more than he had ever hated the Jedi. Soon, he would meet his end. Entering his meditation chamber, he began to focus all of his hatred of Sidious into power, but he was constantly disturbed by thoughts of the Skywalkers. This could not continue. He needed to know the truth. Against the orders of the Emperor, Vader jumped into his TIE Advance shuttle and headed for the planet of Naboo. Having not been here for several years, he couldn't help but notice that the planet was worse than the chaos seen on other worlds. Being Palpatine's home world, Naboo had been under increasing scrutiny following the execution of Queen Apolana. Landing in one of the more remote areas, he made his way without hindrance to the grave of Padme Amidala. Walking circles around the tomb for what seemed like hours, he suddenly found that he was not alone. Out of a nearby archway stepped out the relatively new Naboo representative, Pooja Nabari, whom Vader had seen before. Alongside her bodyguard, they looked unconcerned by Vader's presence, angering the Sith Lord. But he did not travel here to kill. He was seeking answers, and answers he would receive, as the niece of Padme Amidala began to recount what truly happened to the former Queen of Naboo. Although she didn't know all of the details, Vader had found out enough. He had definitely not killed Padme in his anger. Heading back to his ship, he set about avenging for the lies. Across the galaxy, the rebels and Jedi were thinking similarly to the Sith Lord. The construction of another Death Star meant there was no respite for the rebels. At this rate, this would be a resource race they would lose. Assembling their best combatants, it was time to strike the fatal blow or be defeated. Knowing the difficulty in defeating the Emperor, Yoda decides that he should join Mace Windu, Luke and Leia, whilst once again, Ahsoka would be in charge of the aerial strategy. Leaving the rebel rendezvous point, the rebels know they can't use the same tactics as before. There was no doubt the Emperor had covered that. Shifting their position towards an asteroid field, the Jedi begin to shift their heavy rocks towards the Imperial destroyers guarding the incomplete Death Star. Not anticipating an asteroid attack, many of the rocks clatter into the surface of the ships, enough to get the attention of the Imperial officers. The shields go up just as the rebels had predicted, and then they waited. The circle of defences slowly began to spread out through the asteroid field, and the rebels moved in. Swooping in from all angles, the Empire used their turrets to their desired effect, taking out many of the starfighters, but the Star Destroyers are the victims of their own crossfire, with several damaging each other in the chaos. The chaos allows the Jedi to slip through the net, and to the Death Star. However, the Death Star does not lay dormant, and from its makeshift hangar, a group of TIE fighters pursue the Jedi. Luke proves to be a capable pilot, but the ship skids to an undignified halt in one of the Death Star's yet unused areas. Stumbling their way out of the smoky mess, the Jedi hear the sound of pronounced footsteps. Looking upwards through the dust cloud, they see the Emperor and Vader. Pushing the ship over the edge of the platform, Palpatine brings a heavy beam down onto Luke and Leia, which would have pinned them had it not been for Yoda levitating the beam in mid-air. The twins roll away, but Palpatine anticipates this and shocks them. Yoda places the beam down, and along with Windu, engages the two Sith. The Jedi work in perfect harmony, attempting to distort the ferocity of the Sith. However, Palpatine was almost casual, deflecting the hits with derision. Vader, meanwhile, was taken away from the battle with the Jedi Masters to focus on the twins, who had gotten back to their feet. They had exponentially improved from the short time since their previous duel, managing to stand strong in response to Vader's powerful blows. Or perhaps, it was reluctance on Vader's part. Keeping one eye on Palpatine, Vader fails to defend from a powerful force push from Leia, sending him into some scaffolding. Getting back to his feet, he ignores the charging Leia and speeds towards Sidious, who is gaining the upper hand on the Jedi. Sidious turns around, feeling the sudden treachery, but he is too late. Vader had destroyed his master. Behind him, he doesn't react in time to Leia's slash to his back, as Luke cried out in anguish. It didn't matter. In his final moments, he had fulfilled his destiny and ended years of personal anguish. Luke scoops up the corpse of the former Sith Lord, leaving Palpatine to rot, and they are picked up by one of the remaining rebel units. Once aboard, they receive a transmission from Admiral Akbar, stating the reinforcements were on their way. Sure enough, the skies were soon full of rebel ships of all sizes including one cruiser. Without the guidance of the Emperor and Vader, the strategy and morale of the Empire begins to crumble. Above the battle hovered a single starfighter piloted by Ahsoka Tano. Feeling the events upon the incomplete Death Star, she could hear the voice of Obi Wan telling her to head back down to the battle. With a great weight off of her shoulders, she would do just that. That is it for what if Ahsoka could have made as Obi Wan's Padawan. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, and if you're new to this channel and my other channel, subscribe for more tips. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.